Hello, guys, and welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Tonight, we are going to be looking at Matchroom's first UK card. Since August the 6th, Ray. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
It has. I know we say it was the sixth, but it's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks, so it's nice to see some British boxing back on the zone.
Totally agree, mate. And we'll get straight into this one. It is headlined now. Sadly, Lee Wood got a bicep injury, so he's had to pull out of the Mauricio Lara fight. Now, that is a shame. It was in Nottingham. It's a massive main event with serious world title ramifications. But word on the street is that will get rearranged. They're hoping for December. I think we are too. But every cloud has a silver lining. And for me, I am thrilled to see Maxi Hughes versus Kid Galahad get promoted to the main event. I mean, break this fight down for us, Ray. And how good is it to see Maxi Hughes get a main event slot?
Yeah, I think he deserves it. We keep talking about him having this Indian summer. He's been on a great run of wins. I'm still really impressed by his win over John O'Carroll. He was the Irishman who was on a real good run, and Maxi Hughes really took that win and surprised people. He's great on the back foot. I think his boxing skills are underrated. Having said that, he's up against a very clever fighter in Kid Galahad. I think Kid Galahad's disrespected when people call him awkward. He is a tricky southpaw, a lot of skill. He's very clever on the front foot. Equally, he's adept on the back foot. The only thing with Kid Galahad is his punch output is a bit low for me. I like to see him busier in fights. But he's shown in the first couple of rounds in his last fight against Martinez that, if he puts his foot down and takes control, becomes the effective aggressor, gets centre ring, he can do really well. He picks his shots really well. Look at the performance against Josh Warrington. Some well-respected connoisseurs of the sport had him winning that fight.
I did myself.
I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be not a clash of styles, more blend of styles. So it's got the potential to be a boring chess match for casual fans, but for your hardcore fans, it'll be a fascinating affair. I think it'll be really tactical. And I think if Maxi Hughes has got his engine, I think he's in with a good chance. Kid Galahad's coming up to 2 weight classes. So he's putting on £9. How's that going to affect him? I know you talked about how dehydrated he was and he struggled to make the weight. But this is Maxi's weight class, and Maxi's been very active. He's very sharp. So I think it'll be a tight, close affair, but I'll lean towards Maxi Hughes just getting this one.
Wow, I'm pleasantly surprised you've gone that way. And I was going to say my next point was actually going to be about the fact that although it's long been talked about how much Kid Galahad struggles to make featherweight, 17 stoppages in 28 wins. He's not the biggest banger in the world. And as you say, his output is quite low. It worries me. Maxi Hughes is an experienced campaigner at lightweight. He's on that 6-fight win streak, Indian summer. I can't see Kid Galahad putting a dent in him myself. Can you?
I think you'll win some rounds that are be mightily close. I don't think you can discount him from the fight at all. I don't think he'll be any pushover. I don't think he'll be one-sided. I think Kid Galahad will definitely nick some rounds because believe it or not, he is quite difficult to hit clean.
Oh yeah.
There's quite, if you watch quite a lot of his fights, he's really difficult, and that's why people call him awkward. But he's just skillful, and what I mean by that is he's really adept at judging distance and timing. He's really good the way he positions his feet in and out of range. His timing's pretty impeccable. He's always been quite accurate. So I think for the early rounds, it'll appear to be quite boring, but they'll be using feints, they'll be feeling each other out. But that might favour Maxi Hughes because I think his output's greater and he'll be perceived to be doing more. I think the judges will probably give him those rounds, but as the fight becomes a bit more aggressive and Maxi doesn't land clean and Kid sort of like hits and holds or hits and moves away, you'll start scoring those rounds for Kid Galahad.
No, I genuinely agree. I'm backing Maxi Hughes to win it. I think, there'll be nicked rounds as we've seen Kid Galahad do, as you said, throughout his career, but I'm backing Maxi Hughes for the win. We've got another world title clash. This time it's on the women's side of things. And this one I'm very, very excited about. I really am. Hannah Rankin back on a Matchroom card against Terry Harper for the WBA and IBO light middleweight, super welterweight, whichever you prefer, belts. Now, I think one thing we've been astounded by, Ray, is how on earth Terry Harper made super featherweight, because pictures this week of her, obviously in fight week to make 154, she looked quite natural at the weight. I mean, how big a factor do you think this weight's going to be in this fight?
Well, this is different, and in the last fight we were talking about, it is different because Terry Harper probably is at a more natural weight, and she's 5'8". Hannah Rankin's 5'8". She won't look small for the weight. Terry's quite a muscular lady, and she's filled out. She looks really good on the, in the gym. Is it the weight for her? Or she better for a welterweight? I guess we'll see. We'll see on fight night. But I think she'll perform at the weight. I believe in her. I worried about her being down at super featherweight. She was taking off a lot of weight. I mean, she's gone up 24 pounds. That just tells you how much weight she was taking off. She's not going to have to cut weight. She'll have to lose a few pounds here and there, but it's not going to be drastic. So I think this is more of a help than a hindrance. Her going up so many weight divisions.
No, I agree. I'll be honest. I thought it was maybe one or two too many. I was thinking like sort of, like welterweight 140 might be the thing for her, possibly welterweight. But seeing pictures of her this week, I think she, as you say, she's filled out a treat and she looks happy and on it. Whereas in the last few fight week photos that we saw at sort of super feather, you could see the physical effect it was taking on her.
A happy fight is a dangerous fighter, Josh. We said it before on this channel. And she reminds me of the situation when Kell Brook stepped up to face Golovkin, and everyone was commenting on how well Kell Brook looked when he stepped up. And yeah, I agree with you. I would have thought perhaps because she had a fight as well after she got beat off Alicia Bungana. She had a fight at lightweight. So I thought, well, maybe she would step up to 140. Maybe look at a fight with Chantal Cameron or maybe 147. But I think the problem with 147 is Jessica McCaskill's got all the belts. And if you're not in a mandatory position for that, you're going to be waiting around. So the opportunities come up super welter. And if she wins, she can hang around and get that unification for undisputed with Natasha Jonas. If not, she can always come back down to welter. But I don't think that the weight, the additional weight, will be too much of a hindrance. I still expect it to be to perform quite well. To be honest with you.
No, I agree. I mean, are you backing her for the win?
Yeah, I think Hannah Rankin's a solid opponent. But where I've seen Hannah Rankin sort of step up, she's not quite gone over the finish line. I just think that if Terry Harper has got that confidence back, that spring in a step, when you look at that early fights, when she just before she fought Natasha Jonas, when she was fighting like Fandez and girls like that, she was fantastic on the outside. That jab, that lateral movement, it was difficult for people to get inside on her, but she had the size advantages then. But with all that juice in her legs, with all that extra water she can have, she can replicate that form. So I would say style wise, I would favour Terry Harper if she's able to implement that and not be affected by the extra weight. I would say Terry Harper is comfortable in this fight.
No, I'd agree. It's a boring one. Normally we go against each other, but I'm agreeing with you. I think Terry Harper gets this one. I think it goes all the way, but I think she should be winning. She'll be becoming a 2-weight world champion. Yeah. And you briefly mentioned it. I'd be so excited for a unification with Natasha Jonas because their first fight was incredible. And for me, I actually thought Jonas won that first fight. I've got to be honest. I had it by around.
Yeah, it was it's a tricky one. It could have really gone either way. You know, Natasha Jonas has been really unlucky if you even consider the Katie Taylor fight. But Terry Harper was on a great run of form. You know, she had beaten Orbanoff, who I think had already beaten or stopped Natasha Jonas earlier on in Jonas's career. She had beaten the highly rated Eva Wallstrom as well. And she had also stopped Lopez, who was, you know, a really tough journeywoman. So Terry Farmer came into that fight on great form. So that was a little bit of a bump in the road. But then she, like I said, she beat Thanders, which was a great performance. So whether it was just an off night for Terry or whether it was Natasha being unlucky, but hopefully she puts it right this time around, because that for me is probably arguably one of the biggest fights in the UK for women's boxing between two UK fighters.
Massive. I totally agree. We'll move this one on to the third biggest fight on the card, if you like. And this, I suppose it begs the first question here, Ray. When you look at this card top to bottom,
yeah.
Personally, I think Matchroom, we've got used to seeing good fights top to bottom, and we're not seeing them. Personally, I know August the 6th, Dalton Smith in Sheffield, that was a next-gen card, so to speak. But this card today, I mean, Solomon Dakers, I'm a fan of his. He's 4-0 coming into this, but, you know, he's 28 years old, but still relatively fresh to the pro game. And he's taking on Dominic Akinlaid, who's 9-3 with the one draw. That we used to bigger and better, aren't we, off Matchroom as a third fight, on, you know, on the bill?
Yeah, we are, like, especially when, you know, I mean, for my subscription for DAZN, I'm only paying just under a tenner. But if you were to sign up to DAZN now, I believe you're going to be paying £18. So you would think, what's that money going towards? That's £18. That's pretty much a pay-per-view amount
Every
on
month.
the old days on Sky. And what you're getting for that money, don't get me wrong, there's some prospects on there, but Eddie Hearn's losing a lot of that middle tier boxers. And what I mean by middle tier is, you know, your likes of, you know, what a Felix Cash would be now. You know, not your world title level, no longer a prospect. Those guys in and around the European level, defending their British titles, looking at Commonwealth, and arguably contenders facing eliminators for a world title. You need more of them to really beef up the bills. And that's what this bill would have been perfect for that. I mean, they've been unlucky because Solomon Dakers' fight wouldn't be number 3, it would be number 4 under normal circumstances, but he's had an injury, and sometimes that happens. But I think for me, it's starting to creep on him, the lack of depth of talent he has in that particular category that would be ideal in beefing up a card.
I totally agree. And also, you know, if anyone's sat there watching this thinking they're talking absolute rubbish, today it's been announced that Katie Taylor will be back on October the 29th. And that card has a very similar feel to it. I mean, it's got the Romford Bull on it, so I'm a happy customer. But it's the exact same sort of feel. But that's our moan. Guys, let us know in the comment section what you guys think on this. Are we being harsh, or have we got it bang on? But Dakers, he's back. I'll just give it a quick little bit about, obviously, Dominic Akinlaid, who he's facing. Now, Dominic Akinlaid has only been stopped once by Martin Bacoli. He has also lost to Nathan Gorman, but he's been in there with some you know, good operators for me. That's what I take from it. And considering Solomon Dakers is still only 4-0, you know, his last 2 fights obviously was Kamil Sokolowski, who caused Otto Wall some issues.
Yeah, he also beat George Fox as well.
He did. And then I was going to say Espindola winning record.
Yeah.
So I am actually impressed with how Matchroom are matchmaking Solomon Dakers. I think they're moving him at quite a good rate of knots, don't you think?
Yeah, but he's got the talent to go with it, hasn't he? I mean, he's only got the one sort of TKO, but, you know, we shouldn't be paying too much attention to that. We should be attention to what he's learning in the ring. These are learning fights. I've said it on the channel before, and I'll say plenty of times again, that I tend to judge my prospects after they've had 10 fights, because they've had a bit more of a holistic experience in the ring. But yeah, it's a really, really good amateur pedigree he's coming into the pros with. and his opponent, although he's not fought for I think 2 years, he still brings a wealth of experience. He's not just going to lose that. So we'll see in the manner of his win. I expect him to win. It just depends on how much Akinlade's got left, really, and how much desire he's got left. Does he want to ask Dacres some questions? And that's what we have to look at in these early fights with Solomon. What questions is he being asked, and is he answering those questions appropriately? The stamina issues, the chin issues, the body shot issues, the punch selection, the ring generalship, how he handles his aggression. Can he vary that? All those questions, if he answers them, and this will be one of these fights that then we'll know just how high his ceiling is.
No, I totally agree with you, mate. I am going with Dacres, but I think it'll go points. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have to go to points as well. I'm never, even as watching him as an amateur, he's never really struck me as a power puncher. Which is all right. There's a few like that. Huey Fury's like that. Frank Sanchez is like that. But I don't think there's many at this stage of their career that's got better ring IQ than him. Which is all he needs at this stage.
No, I totally agree, mate. I mean, just to finish off, I'll quickly rattle through, because in fairness, there are some good prospects on the card, as you sort of briefly said earlier. Chev Clark, he's carrying on the professional journey. Rhiannon Dixon, trained by obviously Anthony Crolla, and many fans will know. Cyrus Pattinson, they're all, couple of fights in, 3 or 4 fights into their pro careers. And I'm excited, but that for me, Ray, and I think you'll agree in fairness, it's those tier of fighters that they need to be really active now, because they're the ones that need to fill that mid-card hole that Eddie Hearn's currently got.
Yeah, and hopefully those guys will naturally progress and be promoted, as it were, into that slot. There is a lot of talent. You've got the likes of Callum French, Cyrus Patterson. These are guys from my neck of the wood, but these are guys that are highly rated. Yes, very, very good talents. Rhiannon Dixon can fight. We know that. And there's plenty more in his stable that are up and coming. That Nico Levos as well. Good little fighter. But yeah, this is the time for them. This is the time, because in a year to 18 months, they'll be in a position that Dalton Smith was in last month.
Yeah.
And then he'll start getting onto that slot as well, because he'll so yeah, give it 12 months, but they need the experience, they need the wins, and they need to develop and keep on improving.
No, I totally agree. I think that's a great place to wrap it up, guys. Don't forget, Saturday at final bell of Joyce Parker, and also this card, we will be doing a live reaction with Yas as well. We'll be covering both cards, so don't forget that one. Get involved and join in. If you are new and still with us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And I just want to give a really quick shout out. Ray, he's been doing a lot of work to bring us some different content, and we've got an interview with Ghanaian prospect John Zeal. That is now live on the channel, so check that one out. It's a great interview, to be fair. I watched it myself just before we did this one. So yeah, join us on the next one.